as it has to be if they want a chance to win. That's moving forward. It's not just against Virginia. It's against any team you play pretty much the rest of the way. You can maybe get away with it with Wofford and Yale not being bought in defensively because those teams aren't great. But you want to challenge to win the ACC, get a double bye in the ACC tournament. Those games against Miami, Virginia Tech, you got to get bought in. I think that's the message that's going to get preached from the loss, from the press conference. You could tell, even though Roy Williams was blaming himself, he was really ticked off at his basketball team for their effort,
right,
and what they put on the floor. So I think Carolina's going to go in there and surprise everybody and find a way to win the game, albeit ugly. I think they get the game into the 50s, but I think they're going to find a way to win because Carolina has Cole Anthony and Virginia doesn't, and that's good enough to be the difference to win a road game in a place where you haven't had a whole lot of success in recent memory.
Well, if he gets it done, that would tie Roy Williams with the head coach Dean Smith at 879 victories. So keep an eye on that. That's very, very, very exciting for Coach Williams. He'll definitely have a different look at it, I think, than some of the fan base will. But that's something to keep an eye on in that game if they pull out the victory. I hope you're right. I really do hope you're right. But I don't know. Right now, this Carolina team offensively is just it is a shell of itself of what it's been under Roy Williams since he came back to Chapel Hill in 2004.
We'll shut down this podcast with our final segment, Beat the Buzzer. Welcome to Beat the Buzzer. A couple things before we get out of here. As I mentioned, Carolina has had some struggles in John Paul Jones Arena. The Heels haven't won there since February back in 2012. Remember, that was a Carolina team that won the ACC regular season. Loaded roster: Kendall Marshall, Harrison Barnes, Tyler Ziller, John Henson. Won the game 54-51, which ironically was kind of the turning point for Virginia in terms of what they were doing under Tony Bennett. He'd had a hard time getting fans to buy into that style of play. But that was kind of the game where it was like, oh, well, this is how we can compete with Carolina, Duke. At the time, those were, and Maryland was still in the ACC, and those were kind of the teams year in, year out that you thought were going to have a chance to win the ACC. So, yeah, we're going on 7 years, and there have been some ugly losses. 2016 team lost up there, albeit it was a missed a call on Bryce Johnson, changed the final minute of that game.
Yeah.
The 2017 went there the week before they played Duke at home and scored 43. And so you've even seen some of the better teams that Roy Williams has had, even in the last handful of years, have had their troubles winning there. Kind of why everyone's think I'm dumb for picking Carolina to win there, because this Carolina team isn't as good as those teams were. But
well, I think you're dumb, but not for picking Carolina to win. This podcast.
And lastly, and we'll get out of here, Roy Williams traveled on Monday to see former Tar Heel Cam Johnson. The Suns were in Charlotte to take on the Hornets. Second time we've seen Roy take a trip. Well, actually, it's actually his third time. He's been to Chicago to see Kobe White.
Oh, yeah.
He's been in Charlotte. I think it might have been for the Hornets and Bulls opener. If not, it was for a different game. And, of course, now back in town earlier this week to see Cam Johnson play, who's had a fine rookie year since he came back from injury, scoring just over 8 points a game. That Suns team's still 9-11, a lot better than what everyone thought when the season started. They've kind of cooled off after a 7-4 start, I think. But Cam Johnson, as we expected, transitioning mighty well into the NBA.
One note from that, Cam Johnson, not quite the same game as Kobe White had, but Marvin Williams, 22 points in that game, his best performance of the season. So wasn't the Tar Heel that everybody was focused on that Roy was there to see, but one of his former players, Marvin Williams, with a big performance with Roy in the building. So always cool to see that. Somebody did comment that Roy looked happier than they've seen him all season at that game. I'm willing to bet that that is definitely true. This has been a tough year on the head coach, but I think we'll be seeing him smile at some point later on this year. But yeah, it's always, we always love seeing those trips, and that's what continues to be the selling point towards recruits and really just anyone that wants to be around the program is, when you come here, it is a decision for life, because we will follow you no matter what. We will come out and watch you play even after you've left campus, and that's one of the cool things that I think we love so much about the Carolina family.
Oh, yeah. I'll echo that as we shut this thing down. I want to thank Anthony for taking time today to come on here, albeit still man of the world to what happened Wednesday night in the Smith Center, but talk some Carolina basketball and preview.
I just punched the wall earlier. We're going to have to get that repaired.
Good Lord. Preview the ACC matchup this Sunday in Charlottesville, a game that's right, as an ACC game in early December is going to have a factor in how seedings play out later down the road when we get into full-blown conference play.
Yeah, this one we kind of talked before we played the opener. Can we agree on this one because it's the matchup that we got? We don't like this.
Yeah.
We don't like this. Nope, get rid of this.
Yep. And so thank you for coming on, talking some Carolina basketball with us. Do want to encourage you guys, check out the HeelToughBlog.com. It's a busy time of year for the blog. Football-wise, Anthony is getting you prepared as we find out the bowl game, which we'll find out this upcoming Sunday when you find out the 4 teams that make the college football playoff. That's where the Chargers will be next year with Sam Howell leading them to their first ever CFB playoff appearance.
I'll have to pull that audio for the blog podcast.
Got that. Bunch of other stuff going up on the website football-wise as recruiting is a National Signing Day just under 2 weeks away. We'll have you posted on all those if we get anything breaking on that front. Basketball-wise, we've got you covered. I've got my previews, Anthony's got his analysis, and, of course, you've got the podcast. Both podcasts are available on the HeelToughBlog.com individual tab, so you know which podcast you want to listen to. Just click that one and go listen to both of them. We did one earlier this week where we said where we wanted to see Carolina go play in a bowl game. That was a lot of fun. Even talked some All-ACC stuff with Sam Howell somehow being left off the first or second team All-ACC team.
I punched another wall for that earlier.
So make sure you check out all the good stuff we got going up on HeelToughBlog.com. Remind you can subscribe to the podcast through many podcast platforms. We're on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, you name it, we're there. Give us a like, leave us a review. We'll greatly appreciate that. Want to thank you for taking this time to listen. And as always, go Tar Heels.